Welcome, everybody, to the Jim Masters Show Live. How are you and you and you and you? It's good to see everybody, our international audience of Lovities. Very busy day today. I was on the air all day hosting radio shows and interviewing a bunch of great people, life coaches and CEOs and business experts and so much more in my professional world. I think I was on the air from like 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. straight. It was a busy day, but a fantastic day. And it's even more fantastic now that we see all of you watching from literally all around the world. Thanks for joining us. This is our entertainment lifestyle talk show series that we started 1 year ago as of this week, which is very hard to believe. This is our 1 year anniversary, over 400 episodes of our entertainment lifestyle talk show series. We love all of you and thank you so much for your support, your kind words, your wonderful, gracious ways, and tagging and celebrating and commenting and telling everybody about the show. Even though we've been here for 1 year already and over 400 plus episodes, we're just getting started. We have so many incredible things designed to entertain, inform, educate, and to make you feel good. We've been doing that literally together all year long, when you think about it, with our amazing guests and our pop-up shows and all the entertainment that we've had. And of course, our inspiring and wonderful conversations that we've had as well together, myself and our viewers, as well as our amazing guests from Broadway, Hollywood, television, film, music, culinary, arts, sports, comedy, inspiration, literally everyone from everywhere. And we have so much more in store for you guys. So thank you very much from wherever you're watching. The United States, Canada, Europe, Asia, Australia. We have viewers and guests that literally come from all over the globe. And we love and thank you all. This is our Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series, bringing back the old school warmth and conversational style with a modern twist and a modern vibe of today, which seems to resonate with everybody. We appreciate that. Hey, we've got our mug here from our very special Lovity viewer, Pine Island, Florida, Mary Bishop. I love this mug, and I thank you again, Mary, for sending this in. And as we always do here on the Jim Masters Show Live, we welcome you and we toast all of you. Toast you and you and you and you. And thanks for joining us. Sip, sip, as we always say. And we've got an amazing guest, writer, producer, playwright, vocalist extraordinaire. GILES HOWE is with us live from Florida. Yes, speaking of Florida, he is in sunny Florida as we speak. And we're going to chat with him. We also have incredible videos to show you about this extraordinary new production that he is heading up, and it's really exciting. I got a chance to see multiple clips of it, and it's going to be amazing. We welcome you, everybody watching on Jim Masters TV on YouTube. Also, we would love it, and it really does help the show big time, gang. If you've done it already, we thank you. If you haven't, we would love it if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And that's Jim Masters TV. It's the channel you're watching right now. And click that notification bell so you don't miss any of the amazing episodes that we have coming up for you on JMS Live. Also, pop-up shows. We're going to be doing a lot more of host viewer shows. We've got some really cool on-location places we've been invited to. We're going to take you on location. And lots of surprises for all of you. So subscribe to Jim Masters TV on YouTube. We would love it. Click the notification bell so you don't miss any of our episodes, plus a couple of new things. We're going to be doing a new series on that channel as well. So it's going to be really, really cool. And we thank you for doing that if you've done it. And if you do it during the course of our show, you subscribe, we thank you for that as well. So Giles is here, and we're going to chat with him in just a second. Hope you've had a good day today, gang. I hope things have been going well. Again, I've been extraordinarily busy. I tried to pop in every once in a while in our Facebook group, JMS Live Lovity Hall, to greet all of you and say hi and keep you guys updated on some of the amazing episodes that we have coming up and amazing guests that we have coming up as well. Let's welcome some of our fantastic viewers who are watching. Merlin is watching from Canada. Hello, Jim and all the Lovities. Now you can see how long the hair really is, huh? The hair is quite long. It's kind of cool. I know I'm going to miss it when I cut it. If I cut it, it's become like a friend, this hair. Tonight, we just figured it's been such a busy day, and I've been on the air all day on radio and elsewhere that I just said, let it all just relax and hang out. We don't have to fight with it today. And this is how it just sort of came along. Not bad, huh? Sometimes it's better when you just leave things alone. You don't have to overdo it. Welcome, Giles, to Levity Hall. You're now a Levity. I told Giles about the whole Levity atmosphere we have here, and he loves it. And good to see you, Merlin, as always, there in beautiful Ontario, Canada. Kathy Short's watching in Cleveland. We love when she tunes in from Cleveland. Hello, Jim and Levity. So nice to be here tonight. It's always wonderful when you're here. And again, if you want to subscribe to our channel at Jim Masters TV, we welcome you to do that. That really does help the show. Renee Oscom, we love Renee in Iowa. Good to see you, Renee. Say hi to Bernie for us and Alex and everybody. Nice to see you, Renee. Hope you're doing well. Renee, just so you know, I know several of you like when we do a foodie episode. We've got another food festival episode coming up. If I can say it, food festival episode is coming up on the Jim Master Show Live. And I know you guys love that. So stay tuned. I'll keep you abreast of that because I got to try those handballs that you make. We still have to try that. You were gracious enough to send recipes. Hello, Jim and Levity friends from Mary Bishop in Florida. And again, Mary, we salute you, one of our fabulous Levity Squad members and viewers, longtime viewers. Pine Island, Florida is in the house. And Juanita, of course, as well. We love Juanita. She goes through great hoops to make sure she's here, and she's in South Africa where it's late at night. And thank you very much for being here, Juanita. Hello, Jim and Levity Squad. Dante is here, sending his Levity from San Diego. Hello, everyone. Wonderful Levities. Welcome all to Levity Hall, another wonderful talk show hosted by our beloved Mr. Levity, Jim Masters. Enjoy, everyone. Thank you for those kind words, my friend. Dante CD in San Diego, one of the great American cities. Love San Diego. Ann Wozniak is here. Happy Tuesday, Jim and Levity family. Love and hugs. Good to see you, Ann, in Jacksonville, Florida. In Connecticut, the wonderful Krista Nolan is here. Crystal says, hi, Jim and everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Looking forward to an exciting show with inspiring conversation and our famous Levity. You got it, my friend. Kathleen Walker. Nice to hear from you. Nice to hear from you after the show last night, too, Kathleen. I love that. Hey, Jim, hope you had a good day. Hi, everyone. Good to see you as well, Kathleen. We love it. And all of those who are watching us that aren't commenting, we welcome you as well, because there's a lot of people that watch us that don't comment live and also watch us later in the archives. They binge our episodes, and sometimes they just comment on the YouTube channel. We thank you for that as well. So whether you're watching us live or you're watching us later on demand on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, we thank you so very much for your support and for your viewership as well. And the Levity. Hey, Jim, Giles, Levities, may the 4th be with us. Woohoo. Jennifer Barry, who's Zen in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Love to see you there. Crystal Nolan says, I love your hair, Jim. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Crystal in Connecticut. And Juanita says, ooh, love the hair, Jim. Thank you very much. I tell you, it's the longest I've ever had it in my entire life. And it's kind of cool. I know, because sometimes, like I said, it gets in my way when I'm leaning, I'm working on the computer or whatever. All of a sudden it goes, and I'm having to throw it away. If I'm having a bowl of soup or cereal, sometimes it wants to sort of protrude. So sometimes I'll just throw a hat on just to keep it in control. At night, sometimes it comes over and I'm going to try to get rid of it. It's just funny. It's but today we didn't do anything with it. We just let it all hang out, and I guess that's what it wants to do. Thank you very much, Mary Bishop. Again, it's interesting. It's the longest I've ever had it. We have to see what we're going to do with it. It's a lot easier to just do this than when I try to pull it back, and all of a sudden you see it starts to unravel, and it starts to, sometimes when I put that hat on, it's so long back there, it tries to flip the hat off. It's crazy. It's crazy. I know what you guys, those of you who have longer hair, I know what you go through. Jim, I love your hair. We match. Color, cut, ocean, mountain, Zen buddy, Slancha salute. That's the full Monty from Jen is Zen in Pennsylvania. Kathy Short, Cleveland, loving the hair, Jim. Thank you very much. Kathleen says, looking good in New York City. Amy is here. Amy, hello, all my lovely friends. Hope all is well. And thanks for posting that beautiful poem about the healthcare workers at our Facebook group, JMS Live, Levity Hall. That was really beautiful of you to do that. June is here. Hey, June. Hi from Maryland. Hi to Giles. Giles sees this. And Michael Colby is here as well from New York City. Of course, the Algonquin Kid. Best to you, Jim. Good to see you, Michael. Christine Clifton says, greetings, Jim and Lovely friends. Welcome, Giles, to JMS Live tonight. Fabulous show about to begin. Lovely Hall, let Lovely begin. You know it, my friend. You know it. And I'm going to be opening up that probably this weekend. I'm going to do a pop-up show this weekend, probably on Saturday. And I want to open that special package you sent, Christine, which was very generous of you. And you want to say hello and congrats, Michael Colby, to Giles. Thank you very much. Don't cut the hair. Love you, buddy. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Boy, you know how to make a guy feel good. I appreciate that so much. Well, here's another dapper gentleman himself. Giles Howe is here, and he's extraordinary at what he does. He's a writer, he's a vocalist, he's a producer, and there's an extraordinary new production that he's involved in. He's originally from Europe, where he worked extensively as a producer of the New Musical Theater. His talent and close relationships in music has taken him literally all over the world. He's worked with industry leaders and maintains personal relationships with influencers on both sides of the Atlantic, having worked globally for international companies, including Disney, Easy Theaters, and Royal Caribbean and Aria Entertainment, as well as a strong track record of creative innovation, having produced many UK and world premieres of new musicals as a co-founder of the A Stage Kindly New Musical Theater initiative with West End producer Katie Lipson. He's an award-winning vocalist recognized with 2 prestigious RTN awards. And in 2018, after making his New York cabaret debut as a special guest at the Triad Theater in Manhattan, diverse experience on both sides creating theater affords him a unique approach. And there's a very special production that we're going to be talking about here on the show today that he's involved in. Let's welcome him live and direct from Florida. There he is, Giles Howe. Welcome, Giles.
Hello, how are you doing?
Fantastic. How are you today there in sunny Florida? Lucky you.
It is very, very sunny, and I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
So you've had such a varied and extraordinary career on both sides of the Atlantic. Tell us about how you first got started. What were some of those early inspirations in your life that pointed you in this direction of wanting to be not only a terrific vocalist, but also a producer, a writer, and so much more?
Well, I discovered musical theater when I was about 16 years old. And I had seen musicals before then. I remember distinctly a VHS of Oliver that at my grandparents' house that we would watch every time we would go. And I didn't get it. I didn't understand why the flower women in the market were singing and dancing, and the whole thing just it didn't compute. And then at 16, suddenly it clicked why these people would sing, why they would dance, why any of this is happening, and how wonderful it is to take real life and augment it, to improve it, to express things that you can't express without that. I just think it's magic. The magic, it clicked for me, and the idea of expressing oneself through music and poetry and dance and song all coming together. It's what a wonderful way to express oneself. So I became very inspired to learn more about musical theater, about how it's crafted. I began to create my own and improve my own skills and technical skills, and eventually it led to quite heavy involvement in the theater, really.
I like the way you say that. I just want to show you some of the levity that's coming your way, my friend. Again, the guests get showered with levity here on our show, and I'm sure you are aware of that as a fan of the show. Dante says, "Hi, Giles, welcome. You are now a true levity." That's Dante CD. He's watching in San Diego, California. Kathy in Cleveland, welcome to the show, Giles. Anne says, "Welcome from Jacksonville, Florida. Love your cover of Fly Me to the Moon and Crying in the Chapel." Anne is so good. She sort of does a little pre-show investigation, checks things out. We love it. So she loves that. Juanita Welcome to the show, Giles from South Africa. And Crystal in Connecticut says, hi, Giles. Welcome to Lovely Hall. Kathleen in New York City says, hi, Giles, and welcome. Mary Bishop's in Florida. Hi, Giles, and welcome. Frank Rayerson says, hi, Giles. That's from Frank.
Hi, Frank.
And Jennifer Barry in Pennsylvania says, hey, Giles, and welcome. All this lovely coming in here. And of course, our dear friend, June Rachelson Ospa, hi from Maryland. Say hi to Giles. Christine Clifton welcomes you from North Carolina, USA as well. Amy, who's a beautiful poet, welcome, Giles. Nice to have you here. And Christine also says, Giles, welcome to the show tonight. You're now in Lovely. Thrilled you could be with us. Will be great to hear more about your successful and exciting career.
Wow, that's a lot of love.
That is a lot of love, and it's really, really cool, and we love it. So, so what were some of those opportunities that happened for you early on? I guess there, in the UK first. Did you start to get involved in singing competitions, and what was your journey like for you, Giles?
Well, one of the first productions that I was in was The King and I. It was a local amateur dramatic production of it, and I had one of the child leads. I played Louis, and I saw a video of my performance, and it was just very apparent that I couldn't act. And so I decided that I'm never, ever going to put myself in that position again. But that I had absolutely caught the bug, and that musicals were, they became so important to me. It became really fundamental to how I saw the world. Fast forward many, many years later, and I was in another production, this time of Cabaret at a theatre in London. And again, I caught the bug. I was the dancing gorilla in that production, which was full of. Actually, there were some quite remarkable people also in the cast, as well as Katie Lipson, who you mentioned. There was Keisha Mponzo Banson, who is a West End star now, and the name escapes me. Fiona Bevan, who wrote the fantastic song for the British pop band Steps. There's quite a few other people who've gone to be cultural movers and shakers. But anyway, so I was in this production, and it was just completely clear to me that I'd caught the bug again, and that the academic pursuits that I was pursuing at that time were very quickly shrunken in priority.
Yeah. It's funny how that happens, huh?
Yeah, so it was much to the dismay of perhaps my parents, who were they're very creative, but they're very academic, and it was always expected that I should be academically driven and academically inclined. But no, the bug was strong there. I got the wind in my sails, and I left academic studies to culturally innovate, to contribute my passion and skills and talent and writing, and the big heart that I have for singing and dancing and making other people sing and dance in ways that I find very entertaining. So those were two major productions that really gave me the bug, and the third was a production of Chess, which is my favorite musical. I was at the time I was too young to participate in the onstage choir, so I had to sing My Little Heart Out from the Wings. But that was a show that has always inspired me as a vocalist, but especially as a writer. I think that there are moments within that show that are just incredible, and I aspire to create similar. I mean, I aspire to create music that elicits a similar emotional response to what that brought out of me, or what that elicited in me. So I like very big and epic moments that just rip your heart out. And there are a few other shows that have similar moments. I like Les Mis, I love Phantom, I love Rags. I love these big epic shows are what really excites me. And so I ran a theatre company in the UK for several years, and we were staging many fantastic work. We had the opportunity to bring to life scenes and songs, and indeed full shows of some fantastic new writing from the States, Australia, elsewhere in Europe, all over the place. But many of the shows that we were receiving to consider were not necessarily in the style of the musicals that first drove me into the theatre, that really tick my personal boxes. And so about 12 years ago, I set out to write one that was very much an homage to that genre. And 12 years later, I'm really happy to be here today to see it through. It was nearly the death of me, but we made it through, and yeah, it's the culmination of a very enthusiastic consumption of all sorts of musical theatre across the genres of opera, rock opera, and operetta, and musicals, and jukebox musicals. All the different performing arts, I consumed them and tried to take what I like most and give something back.
So before we talk about this epic production that is really, really exciting and very riveting and very poignant, you toured the globe as a singer and vocalist, huh? You had a whole other career. That was kind of cool, huh?
It was kind of cool. It was. I tell you, that was the time of my life. I had. It was a real privilege to be invited to sing internationally, especially as much as I did. I got to see parts of the world I would never have imagined that I would see, and I've performed with incredible, legendary performers, and shared the stage, perhaps not at the same time. They were legendary, but I stood on the same stages as well as having gotten to perform with some of my idols. I've stood on the stage that many more of them have also performed on, and exceeded my dreams. I performed with a few different acts. I performed with the 12 Tenors in China and Japan on month-long tours each. I've performed with an act called Viva Voce, an act called Stars of Opera. I had since moving to America, I had a solo residency here in Central Florida, which was totally different experience again. So when I was performing with these acts, we would perform with a large orchestra, and here I was performing with just a guitar, and I don't play the guitar. I had a very talented guitarist called Scott Neubauer, and he would play country picking versions with a flamenco and South American twist. There was lots of very interesting guitar techniques that he would involve. And we would take songs from my youth, songs that I grew up with, songs that I discovered on my travels, things from Edith Piaf songs, the Eurythmics, Frasier, Israeli folk songs, Swedish songs, all sorts of bizarre, Turkish pop.
Talk about variety.
Crazy variety, and give it this slightly country element, but of course this accent doesn't lend itself very well to singing country.
It's a country.
So it was this really interesting, it occupied this really interesting space between what people might expect and what people might not expect. And we were just getting into our stride when the corona really hit. So we've stepped back into the shadows to regroup, and we're going to be back with something new and exciting yet.
So you're still immersed in music then in that way. That's fantastic, huh?
I think if you really love music,
Yeah.
you can never truly step away. You can step back from it, but I've retired from the stage so many times, and always I end up coming back and singing songs and entertaining the people. And
you and Cher have done, and then come back. I'm retiring, but I'll see you in 2 years with my world tour.
It's definitely a different. It's definitely a different experience producing things over here in the States than it is in the UK.
How would you say? How is it? What are some of those nuances and differences?
Perhaps it would be different if I were in a more cosmopolitan or metropolitan hub, but where I am in Central Florida, there certainly isn't the community of creatives or people or the infrastructure of where you might consume cultural output in the same way that I was used to in London, where I was surrounded by a large community of very, very talented people who were all very enthusiastic about being involved and supporting each other. But I also find out that when you live on the beach and it's 90 degrees outside, do you really want to sit down at the piano and lock yourself in a musical bubble, or even go to the theater and when it's 90 degrees and the beach, I can hear it. It's right there. So people's priorities perhaps are a little different. But I was very lucky because I was able to meet a few creative people here in the States that have been absolutely integral to the project that we've just finished. So in January, we released the concept album of this musical called Soviet Zion that I've been developing for 12 years. And one of the creators on that is a man called Brian Freeland, who creates soundscapes and scores for films and for computer games and all sorts. And using the technology that he utilizes, we were able to create an incredible score that has completely surpassed my dreams. I mean, I always envisioned that the score would have a very rich, lavish, and lush orchestral texture. But in my head, that was always limited to what might we be able to afford for an eventual production, or how can we keep those forces as small as possible to make a production as likely or as feasible as possible. But using this technology, we are emancipated from those restrictions and have been able to use an orchestra. 666 tubas in the tuba section, a gong the size of the side of your house. We have clarinets, of course, but we have sub-bass clarinets and sub-contrabass clarinets and
like you said, when you do it, you like to go big.
Go big or go home, exactly. So we have two octaves of tuned timpanis. I mean, it's a lavish orchestration, and I'm very proud of it. And that one of the crazy things about creating this is I'm yet to meet my collaborator on that.
Really? It's all virtual and
our entire interaction has been virtual. We get along very well. We have developed a great friendship, but we've never been in the same room as each other. And that's quite an extraordinary creative relationship.
How has that been working? I mean, obviously with everything that's been going on, it's been probably beneficial because of the pandemic and everything. You probably weren't able to get together anyway, but um, how does that work when it's such a lavish and big and involved production, when you're trying to create and produce it and put it all together? You've been working on it for over a decade, but when you do it in this virtual form as opposed to right there.
Well, I had never collaborated in that way before, so there was no roadmap for exactly what to expect from each other. So you had to kind of uh, learn as you go what are each other's limits and what are each other's capabilities, and to what extent are you able to trust someone, and to what extent do you need to go back and forth to necessarily get what you first envisioned rather than what the collaboration has brought forth. And no, thank goodness for Zoom and screen sharing apps, and for Google Drive, that we were just able to ping back and forth very quickly ideas. And normally, without this technology, a process like this would take, I mean, this did take years. Just to be clear, this took a considerable time.
Well, you
But
said
without this technology, the orchestrations alone would have taken, for us to go backwards and forwards and to test it with musicians. It would have been a totally different process. But we were able to create the orchestra. We wanted to play the material and have them play it. So it wasn't just putting dots on a page. Rather, those dots were able to be articulated and come to life, and we were able to digitally create an orchestra that would otherwise have been almost impossible.
And if this was like 30 years ago, the capability of creating even a digital orchestra wouldn't even exist. So
well, I'd have been 6 years old, so it would have been a real challenge.
You would have to have done it on your toy piano, yes. So what you mentioned like 11, 12 years ago. So this truly, to have stuck with it this long, it's been a labor of love, intense emotional love for the project, for you and those involved too that have come along the way. What was the initial inspiration for the project?
The initial inspiration for the project. So Katie, who contributed musical material, so she and I began the project together. We, as producers producing other people's work, for a long time wanted to write something together that celebrated our shared Jewish cultural heritage. So we were already on the lookout for a story that would be that would lend itself well to what we wanted to achieve, because we both spoke a very similar musical language. So we are both inspired by the same sounds and we share many of the same references, although we interpret them very differently in our composition in a way that goes very well together. So we knew we knew what the sound was that we wanted to achieve. We knew it was going to be very similar to Les Mis, to Rags, to Chess, with elements from other shows, other genres indeed, like Turandot has been a very heavy influence, especially on the orchestrations. So we knew the sound we wanted to create, so we needed to find a story that would lend itself to the sound. And I was fortunate enough to go to Israel with an organization called Taglit Birthright. And over 10 days, I saw a great volume of things and experiences and places and history and philosophy, and a total crash course in modern Israel. And I came back from this trip really acutely aware of how ignorant I was about current events, modern history, the Arab-Israeli conflict, the ideologies and the history behind the Jewish homeland. And I wanted to fill in the gaps in my knowledge. And so I was Googling and reading and researching, and I came across an article about a place in Siberia called Birobidzhan, which is very, very far east of. That's not east. That's
See
very
this
far
yeah.
east of Russia.
Wherever the sun's coming in the window.
That was so. This area, it was about the size of Belgium, and it was set aside in the early 20th century as a territory for Jewish autonomy, for the Yiddish community of Russia to have their own territory. And it fascinated me that this entire nation existed, this entire parallel national narrative that no one talks about. That I had asked of my rabbi and learned people in the community, and they had never heard of it before. And that fascinated me because there's a very strong there's a strong discourse within the Jewish media and Jewish community papers and so on in support of Israel, of course, or discussing Israel in any case. It is a cornerstone against which many people base their identity in one way or another in relation to it as an ideology, Zionism as an ideology. So I just thought it was extraordinary that this entire country existed even before Israeli independence, and still it technically exists today, even though it never fulfilled the dream it was supposed to of becoming a Yiddish-speaking socialist homeland. It just quietly didn't. It just quietly stopped being spoken about, and I thought that was very interesting because obviously it was a Soviet socialist experiment. So it was the Russians behind it, and it didn't necessarily succeed as it was intended, which might be a little embarrassing on that side. And in terms of the Jewish national narrative, a lot of people don't necessarily like to discuss it because that there is a second, ostensibly a second Jewish homeland, undermines the idea of Israel as the only Jewish state. And so it's not something that gets talked about in polite conversation because it ruffles feathers. It ruffles a lot of people's feathers. But anyway, I thought it was fascinating, and it was grand enough in its historical scope to justify why I would have these singers sing in this overblown way, because I love over singing. I love a good soprano. I love one of the distinctive things about my writing is putting singers through their paces. So someone wrote me a lovely letter just recently, and they said my writing is a love song to the human voice, or a love letter to the human voice. And I thought that was a very charming way to describe what I like to expect from singers, especially from my mezzo sopranos. I put them through their paces. But that was really at the fundament of what I wanted to write, was something that requires the voice not just to sing in the way that anyone could sing it. I wanted to showcase really technically advanced singers doing what only technically advanced singers can do well, because that sound excites me when I hear a singer take a risk. I work also as a vocal coach, and I always encourage my students to constantly take risks and to sing in a very particular way that I wanted to write music that supports that. And I think I did that. I think I achieved what I set out to with that. We have some really beautiful singing is required. Some very technically difficult things are required of the singers, who deliver very beautifully what was expected of them. I'm very happy with how that experiment came out very well, and I'm really happy with that.
Tell us a little bit about the story itself, Soviet Zion. This is really a beautiful and poignant story. Tell us a little bit about it for the audience's knowledge.
Absolutely. So two families moved there, one from the Ukraine and one family from Malibu. And as you can imagine, they are chalk and cheese. And so their experiences in this place are very contrasting. And very staunch hardworking peasant woman from the Ukraine, her experiences contrast starkly with this larger than life, brash American young girl who's been plucked from Malibu, dropped in Siberia. And so the story really follows 6 characters, and they're from these 2 families, and their intertwining lives. The show is quite epic, so it would be very difficult for me to give the story, the whole story in a paragraph, and that's not a cop-out. I encourage, if you are interested, to check it out. But it's really to do with these 6 characters' relationships to their sense of belonging, their sense on how that affects their relationships to each other, in strengthening, and the opposite. It's a lot of endurance. There's a lot of people being put into situations that they had not anticipated, that really stretch the limits of their integrity. How far are you able to be pushed before you snap? And at what point do you put your love for others over your own well-being? And those are some of the themes that are explored.
We talk about that a lot on our show.
the lead character is a character called Morel. She's really the focus of the show, and her husband, I don't want to give too much away, but her husband gets thrown into prison for something very insignificant and spurious, and she campaigns very tirelessly for his release. When she gets what she wants, ultimately, he is released, but he's come out a completely different person than the person who was taken from her. And then she must reconcile her memory of her jolly, charming and affable lover with this broken man who has returned. And how do they keep the peace at home? How do his wants and desires fit in with hers, now that ultimately this poor woman, her dreams keep coming true, but it's never exactly what she wants. So how does she navigate that? How does she navigate that? Mm. Excuse me.
I know, you get all choked up just talking about it, huh?
Well, as the thing progressed, and like I said, this has been in development for 12 years. The poor woman, she's having a much less difficult time of it than she had in previous versions of this show, where a child got eaten by a bear, a child got locked outside and froze, and she went blind. So none of those things are happening anymore.
You've been softening up a little as time has gone on.
She's much happier.
Well, we have a little bit of a trailer here, and let's show that trailer. And we have some clips from Soviet Zion as well, which I think will be fantastic to see. So let's take a look at the trailer, and then Giles will unfreeze and we will have him back. All right, gang, welcome everybody. Jim Masters here, the Jim Masters Show live. Here is Soviet Zion. It's just a short trailer, and then we have some more clips for you guys. Doesn't that look amazing? It looks very riveting too. And Giles disappeared. So Giles is going to, if you notice, his picture froze. His Wi-Fi there in Florida probably knocked him out. But if you can hear us, Giles, just go back into the link and we shall be here waiting for you. He mentioned 11 to 12 years he has worked on this production. That's just a little bit of a teaser. We have a couple more clips. So let's run through some of the clips while Giles is trying to get back into the system. Again, his internet froze on him, which happens. It gets very chilly when your internet freezes on you. Here's another incredible clip from, again, Soviet Zion, this amazing new production forthcoming. Here we go.
This is good news, Sophia. Go to your husband.
Yes, Mother. Are you sure you're all right?
Yes.
Mrs. Lieberman, I've just been discussing your case with my colleague, and it appears we found a way we might work together.
You have?
In exchange for immediate release of your husband.
Oh, officer, I'll do anything.
To prove your party loyalty by reporting on any ruthless cosmopolitan activities, any anti-Soviet sentiments, and in particular, Mrs. Lieberman, any Zionist sympathies.
Zionist sympathies.
In particular, Mrs. Lieberman, you are to keep close eye on the Levin family,
The Levins.
whose American origin makes them particularly suspicious. Your daughter is news leader. I'm sure you've been following the news. America is our biggest threat, and Americans almost so. You are to report to my office on first day of every month and dictate 2,000 word report. And Mrs. Lieberman, every report by our informants is cross-checked against those of others. If you conceal any information that later is brought to light, not only you, but your daughter Sophia could end up in prison. So my advice to you is to be honest. Congratulations, Mrs. Lieberman. Things are certainly looking up.
And so I'm left with little choice. How to be true to my integrity. How do my best endure this trial. It all shall pass in just a little while. I rest assured I have the best interests at heart. I'll try in the meantime not to fall apart.
That's really cool stuff, isn't it? That's really amazing. We've got some more for you. It's a very riveting production, as you can see. Got a couple more clips just to give you a little bit of a sense of what this production, this is Soviet Zion, is all about, that Giles and the team have been working on for well over a decade. Here's another one for you.
When you feel that rush and it catches in your throat and you take in a breath or stab in your heart, the pain, it never ends. It just
page 193, a toast.
Absolutely riveting. Here's another clip for you, gang. Wow, amazing. Here's another clip for you, gang. Wow, that's absolutely amazing. Really incredible. And Giles is here. Let's welcome him back.
I know.
Really amazing.
Just as I was talking about trials and tribulations of the human spirit, it throws me off on live TV. What can I do?
I tell you. So we have another clip too that we're going to show that we just got in, but tell us about what we just saw. I mean, even in just those clips alone, and everybody was commenting throughout, it really does look very, very poignant and riveting and very intense in many respects. Tell us about it.
Well, those clips that you just saw were from a concert workshop production that we staged at the London Jewish Museum in 2014.
Very nice.
That was the first time that the new version of the show was put on its feet. So since then, a Yiddish language, a fully singable Yiddish language translation has been made. The new orchestrations were made further to this production. So shortly after this production, I moved to America, which made continuing on the project in the same way as before tricky. So anyway, the translation and the orchestrations happened after I came over here, and this we staged very shortly before before I left, and it stars. That production stars Kate McMillan.
There it is. There, yeah. They're
Kate
queuing it
McMillan
up.
as Morel, and a few other cast members. We invited them back to join us for the cast recording that we recorded in London in November during the height of lockdown. And the new recording features some familiar voices from that production, but with all new orchestrations and a couple of new vocalists who we're very happy to be introducing on this recording.
Just
So
want to
that-
show you. I
that-
just show you some of this, what we have coming in from the Lovities here. Maureen says you can just feel the emotion. Anne says so intense. June, of course, fantastic. Juanita in South Africa says, wow. And also, what great clips. Looks amazing. Kathleen in New York City says great clips. And Jennifer Barry in Pennsylvania says she was dancing in me living room and in Pennsylvania. And Juanita says great voices as well. And that's just with the clips that we saw, which is incredible and awesome from Kathleen. So now we have, tell us about the new clip that we have here.
Sure. So I think there are two clips coming up. One of them is the trailer. And this first one is, I think you actually heard it whilst my computer died on me. But this is the new, this is the Yiddish language version with the orchestrations. You see, we actually recorded the full show by hook and by crook. We made it happen. It was skin of our teeth, crazy times. But we recorded. We had 4 days and 1 hour rehearsal, and in 1 week we recorded the 2.5 hour show.
And this is where Kate is singing.
And this is Kate McMillan
in Yiddish.
We recorded, as well as the 2.5 hour album of concept album, we also recorded an album of bonus material featuring songs from the show translated into Yiddish, which was the language that these characters would have been speaking in. So this song is the song that you just heard, When You Feel That Rush. But this time you'll hear the beautiful orchestrations with mandolins, with hammered dulcimer, with wonderful grand orchestrations, and a beautiful translation translated by a young lady poet who grew up in New York.
Very nice. Let's take a look at that right now in 3, 2, and that is incredibly moving. That is absolutely. Tell us about that some more, Giles. That's really incredible.
Well, it was always important to me to, if I could, create a Yiddish version of the show, because that language was the language these characters spoke. I had the opportunity to meet not just a fluent Yiddish speaker, but a first language Yiddish speaker here in Florida. And they're rare as hen's teeth, really. They're not, it's not unless you live in New York or Antwerp or certain places, they're not people you come across very often. So I was very lucky to meet her, and that she had an interest in poetry and being creative. And I thought it was going to take 2 or 3 weeks, and the translations took over a year. And we went through it word by word. I can speak Yiddish. I'm not a first language speaker, and I'm a little under fluent, just a little touch under fluent, or a big touch.
You want to share what are a couple of things you could say for us now, just so they hear it?
You put me on the spot. Like what? What should I say?
Something, maybe say hello to all the Lovities watching who are enjoying this.
Seid begrüßt, eure Zuhörer.
Very nice.
Thank you.
We officially have Lovity now in Yiddish.
So yeah, she and I worked together at the kitchen table for 1.5 years, going through it word by word, and then adapting the translation word by word into a singable translation. And what was quite exciting, a couple of interesting linguistic things that working on it included that syllabically, a lot of the word-for-word translations had the same amount of syllables, or because the languages are structured similarly, some of the important words matched when in translation. So it was actually much easier to adapt the translation than it would have been in a language that was less closely related to English. But it was interesting working with her name is Gittel, by the way. It was interesting working with Gittel, especially on the scenes where there was romance or flirtation involved, because so she grew up in the Satmar community, and those are not things. Satmar girls don't flirt with boys. No, they don't talk to boys. They don't look men in the eye. It's a very, very restrictive society, and so to find terms of endearment and to find ways to express romance and flirtation was really interesting linguistically and psychologically, and also translating the wordplay. There's some instances of wordplay that rely very heavily on language, and so translating those was very difficult. But it was translating. Even if the show might never, the translation might nothing might come of it. There are so few people who speak Yiddish as a language. It wouldn't be a matter of making it more accessible to anyone by putting it on in Yiddish. And indeed, the dialect that we've translated it into isn't necessarily the most authentic that these people would necessarily have spoken. But I wanted to create it because it was inexplicably important to me, and doing so has been a wonderful exercise in really exploring my own identity as a European Jewish person speaking this language that is no longer spoken amongst European Jews. I felt historically very connected to the past in doing this, and it took a long, it was a lot of commitment, but I'm really happy that we did it. And hearing these characters sing not only the material that I've had in my head for so long, but to hear it come to life with these beautiful orchestrations, and even in this language, has been hugely gratifying, and has made the stubbornness that drove this project.
I was going to say, you notice the dog barked when you said that about stubbornness? The dog barked perfectly on cue.
I knew when Katie and I, and later Roberto, who we joined as a book writer, joined the team, I knew this was going to be probably the biggest challenge that I could feasibly accomplish with the skills. It was a real test of my skills and stamina and strength and talent and perseverance and all those virtues. It was when Kate, I can remember Kate and I were sat in a cafe in Russell Square in London, coming up with it, and I presented her the idea. We talked about how it might turn into a musical, and I remember thinking, this is the most ambitious thing I could possibly create. This is really testing me to the limits of my current skills. And I knew it was going to, I thought in my head, I thought, this is going to be an 11-year commitment. And I was 1 year out. I blame Corona. If it wasn't for Corona, perhaps.
So what kept you going? You know, some people would have given up maybe after the second, third, fifth, eighth year. What was it about this project, Giles, that really kept you at it? I mean, obviously you were doing other things along the way, but kept going back to it and tweaking it and expanding it and opening it up more. What was it inside you that said, we really have to tell this story?
That's a good question. I'm not sure if I have clarity on why this is a story that I've dedicated such a part of my creativity and my creative output, and indeed my life, to telling. I don't really know why this story has chosen me to tell it necessarily, but I think the reason I've persevered with it for so long is because, one, when you're that invested in something as a creative, and I very consciously wanted to create something that showed trajectory, that was in comparison to the previous piece that I had written, showed a quite steep development technically, and I wanted a steep trajectory when I started with writing this piece. And so I do think a lot of it was to do with stubbornness, and to be, once you're that invested in it, it would have wasted all of that investment to just not see it through. And as the project got bigger and bigger and bigger, well, my skills expanded. You keep up with the demands placed upon you, and ultimately, this is a 2.5 hour through composed piece. There's so much intricate nuance in, and because often a project like this would be created with a much larger creative team, you have specific people working on very specific aspects of its creation, but with such a small creative team, so many of the decisions have been my creative input, or not necessarily the decisions, but the vision of it. And to have such a clear vision for such an intricate, complex thing that talks about so many different ideologies, and that deals with history and real people's, people have genuine emotional connections to these to these themes. So to have such a clear vision for it, if I didn't manifest it into the world, it would, forgive me for being morbid, it would have died with me. It wouldn't exist. It would exist only in here. And if this isn't going tick 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 tick, it's gone. It's not. It may as well never have happened. So it was super important to me to share with other people this giant vision that I have been whittling at and chipping away at, and hearing in my mind's ear, seeing in my mind's eye, and hearing in my head. And I wanted to share it with people because I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. It's very operatic, it's very long, it's very dewy, it's very heavy, and for people who don't like those things, they're probably not going to like it much. But people who do like epic musicals, who do like to be challenged with ideologies and philosophies and ideas and difficult human responses to different emotional stimuli, if that's the kind of show you like, you're going to absolutely love it. And I wanted to make sure it was out of my head, so that those few people for whom this is the best thing since sliced bread get to enjoy that, because there are very obscure musicals that I really enjoy, and that have profoundly influenced me as a creative, and just as a human being. And some of them are huge flops. But the fact that someone envisioned that and took it from a seed to a big tree, or however you want to talk about it.
What do you hope people are left with after seeing it?
Questions. I want them to question I want to question themselves. I want to question their identity. I want to question their sense of belonging. I want people to question their privilege, if they feel that they belong somewhere, or if they feel that they're at home in the country they were born in, or where they find themselves. I want people to question that, not everyone has that experience of identity, of belonging, of life. A lot of people feel very ill at ease where they are, or not at home for whatever reason, whether they're refugees, whether they're asylum seekers, whether they are migrants, whether they are born because of the circumstances of their family history. For whatever reason, some of us are very lucky to live in countries where we are able to thrive, and where we are able to express ourselves and explore different ways of being, and to become or to strive to living a truth that is individual to ourselves. And there are places in the world that people do not have that privilege. They don't get to decide for themselves how they want to live feel, believe, love. And so I want people to I want people to come away from this with some specific things as well. I want them to feel overwhelmed by the music. I want them to feel that they have been on a journey, that they have really digested a really meaty morsel of music. That I want people to look at. It's not propaganda at all. This piece was never written with any propaganda in mind, but I do want people to look at it, to look after the show, to look perhaps at the idea of a Jewish homeland, or people who may have questioned it before might look in a different perspective as to why it's important, and why these people felt that was the answer to their questions, let's say.
Do you feel a sense of burden or responsibility in telling that story? Have you, whether that's more than likely a self-imposed burden and responsibility to tell that story and to share that story? Do you feel that? Is that part of also why it took so long, because you really wanted to tell it in such an elegant and eloquent way?
I think that the older that I get, and the more I develop my Jewish identity and understand it, the more responsible I feel for telling stories and remembering history and remembering names of people and events, and there, if you don't tell your own story, remember your own history, no one else is going to remember it for you. And being a community that being a community that has in such recent history had such endured such catastrophe and decimation, I do feel responsible. And for example, again, this probably sounds a bit dark. If the Holocaust hadn't happened and there were 6 million more creative people and writers and musicians telling Jewish stories, maybe I wouldn't feel as responsible. But given that, I'm 2 generations removed from a really catastrophic part of history, I think that it's very important to take pride in telling Jewish stories and to take pride in existing. I'm not, I'm so many things. I'm British, I'm European, I'm Jewish. I'm all number of different things, and the Jewish aspect of my identity is just part of it. And I want to tell stories that reflect all manner of my experience on this earth, and also explore beyond my own experience. But I do feel that as a creative person, I take pride in that I have told a Jewish story, because it helps other people question themselves, and it's helped me question myself. And I hope that it inspires interesting conversations, food for thought, and I'm very happy that I told this story, even though it's a very challenging story to craft. I'm very happy that I've been able to tell it.
Where can people see it? When is this something that people can start to really ingest, digest, savor, and appreciate?
Well, so we recorded that concept album in London in November, and I could tell you some stories about recording an album in the middle of lockdown.
Yeah. What was that like?
A nightmare. a nightmare, an absolute
Well, you still have your hair, so that's a good thing.
nightmare. So the government announced a national lockdown to begin on Monday. They announced this, I think, on Sunday, and so we had less than 24 hours on a Sunday to, because we lost our recording studio because it was a non-essential business and it had to close. The only things that were allowed to stay open at the time were schools and pharmacies and takeout restaurants. Leave takeout restaurants? Yeah. So we were fortunate enough that we were able to hire, with moments' notice, a whole floor, a whole story of a school, bring in sound equipment, create a green room, create a control room, and turn the school into a recording studio. It was a complete round the clock nightmare. But we managed to get it done, and I feel confident that when you listen to the recording, that to answer your question, has been released to iTunes and Amazon. When you hear that recording, you would never guess that there was any compromise to the engineering aspect of recording it and putting it together. Our sound engineer, credit to him, and our cast, who had 4 days and an hour to rehearse this whole show, plus the bonus material, in visors and masks. Can you imagine rehearsing an opera and with two masks on your face? And we had to have all the windows open for ventilation, and there was a playgroup, like a kindergarten, right outside the window. So every 15 minutes, the children would come out, like banging pots and pans and screaming, and it was an interesting time to be alive, and I'm glad I was, because being able to make it through that, I can do anything.
Now you can do anything.
Absolutely anything. But yes, exactly. So we recorded it. I flew back to the States, and then we released it. So it's now available on Amazon. It's available on iTunes. It's available on lots of other streaming platforms as well. But the two most reliable ones where I know you can find it with ease are iTunes and Amazon. And there are two albums.
Two albums.
The first album is the concept album, the original concept album. It is the full show front to back. So if you close your eyes, you can imagine the entire spectacle taking place right in front of you in your mind's eye, just like a radio play, a musical radio play. The other album is a bonus album, which has about 25 minutes worth of material sung in Yiddish. It has some backing tracks if you wanted to have a sing-song of some of the songs yourself. And there's also an interview with Katie and I that goes into some more detail about some of the challenges that we faced doing what we did at that time. And I hope your listeners will enjoy it. You can find a trailer if you want to have a. One of the things that I'm really proud of in this score is the ensemble material, which I wrote in a very experimental way. Like I said before, I like to challenge vocalists. I like to put them through their paces and expect them to take risks and to sing very difficult things. And so the tessitura, which is the range in which singers are expected to sing, normally in choral music is fairly limited. Create a nice, smooth, cohesive sound. Well, I thought, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to have everyone singing across 3 octaves and bellowing and wailing and putting them through their paces. And I even recording the album in the studio, I had no idea whether these experimental arrangements were going to be a disaster or come together, because when everyone's wearing a mask and you can't hear squat, you just don't know. And then it was delivered with all the voices layered on top of each other, and I heard it for the first time. It was make or break. There was no way to go back and redo it. It was that this is what you've got, so let's hope it works. And it works really well. So here's an example of that on YouTube. There's a Soviet Zion 2001 trailer version 2. You can hear a short snippet, and there are some more snippets on our website, sovietzion.com, where you can hear this very grand, very confident choir. Often when there is choral singing, people are encouraged to sing undersing, so as to really sing as part of the group. But I wanted these 12 vocalists all to sing like soloists, so everyone's singing with the strongest parts of their voice, and it creates a really dynamic and impassioned sound. You can hear when people are desperate, you can hear when people are anguished, you can hear when they're joyous, and I'm really happy with how those arrangements came out. So I hope you enjoy the orchestrations, the vocal arrangements.
So what they can see on Amazon, as far as what they can watch and what they can get, is it just the audio, or do you get is it the full visual production as well?
No, this is not a movie. It's a radio play. So
it's all, because it was what we saw as far as the acting and the clips was fantastic. Do you hope to turn it into off-Broadway or Broadway at some point, or theatrical?
So that was a live concert that we did in London.
It was terrific.
Thank you. And that was staged in a conference room in the museum. So imagine,
was it really
with one piano and one keyboard? I mean, imagine with these new orchestrations in a concert hall. Imagine in Carnegie Hall. Or
is that what you are hoping down the line? Would you like to see it turn into that?
I think any writer of musicals who says they don't want to be on Broadway or have their work performed in a fabulous concert hall is probably telling a fib.
Just like when you ask a senator, congressman, or governor, are you going to run for president? And they say no. Usually they will.
I would love to. It would be a privilege to be on Broadway. It would be a privilege to be off Broadway. It would be a privilege for this to be performed anywhere live. That would be a dream come true. Realistically, I would love to collaborate with somebody on a tour of initially of community venues in South Florida, perhaps touring simultaneously the same cast, a Yiddish version and the English version. We would go from venue to venue, and maybe eventually end up in some fabulous performance in New York. But I think this piece has a definite home in the community. I think outside of the community, it's actually proven perhaps more popular outside of the community than it has within it. So I would love to introduce it to the wider audiences in New York. I would love to take it to Tel Aviv. I would love to take it to German-speaking Europe. I have grand plans for this piece. I think it's such a meaty and it aims to be such a significant piece.
You said that it's more, the response has been more from outside the community than within. Why do you think that is?
I think because the story is fascinating. Migrating halfway around the world to create utopia from scratch, and how do you survive when your utopia becomes dystopia, when your dreams are shattered and reality hits you? That's fascinating. Whatever community whatever context that story is being told in, it's going to be fascinating. That could happen in India, it could happen in China, it could happen in Australia. The story is going to be.
Is it happening in America?
Is that same story happening in America?
or something similar?
Yes, I think. Yes, I think people are always being displaced. I think people are always migrating. People are always on the move. People might be perfectly at home one minute and suddenly circumstances change and you're not. So whether this exact story of nation building is happening here in the States, well, this is a very unique and specific story. The fact that the circumstances in which this country came to exist were very specific historical circumstances, but the themes of migration and movement and belonging, that's happening all over the world.
And change and societal unrest and movement of society. And you've seen a lot of that just in the last 12 months in the United States. So there's a lot of upheaval and shifting and a lot of cultural aspects.
One thing I've noticed since coming to America, especially in regards to the politics, is that there are oftentimes a strong sense of us and them, and so people pull together, and in pulling together, it's excluding other people, perhaps, and so people are constantly being divided and brought together, and divided and brought together according to thoughts and ideologies and philosophies that are happening around current events. So I've definitely seen lots of different diverse communities feeling othered or feeling marginalized and having to discuss their future in terms of in that context. So there are similar parallels to the stories of these people feeling disenfranchised or unwanted, and their nationalism or their stronger sense of community comes from that context. And so I see that happening here. Communities are having to galvanize and discuss how to proceed into the future because they're being othered. But constantly people are brought together and divided, and that very fluid movement, I think, is part of human nature. And it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting looking back on this time, seeing which discourses that we in our lives are actually part of, with the Black Lives Matter movement, with marriage equality movements, with continuing the civil rights movements, with things like this. It'll be really interesting towards the end of our lives to look back and see what social phenomena we have actually been part of and participated in.
Absolutely. They're going to be talking about this in perpetuity in the history books for a long time this year of 2020 into 2021. How have you been? I usually ask some of the guests, how have you been remaining sane and creative and, collaborative during all of this unprecedented time? Because I've said it multiple times, there's only 3 people that probably could have scripted the last 12 months in our world, and that would have been Rod Serling from The Twilight Zone, Steven Spielberg, or Stephen King, the novelist.
Yes, perhaps you're right. Or Miss Cleo. How have I been keeping sane? Well, I don't know how sane I was to begin with, to be fair. So
every single guest says that too. Get back to me on that. I'm not sure I'm sane, right?
I'm very lucky where I live. I live right on the beach. The weather's beautiful. There are far worse places in the world to be stuck. And I got to experience life in the UK under lockdown and compare it to my experience living here in Central Florida. And it's been very tough for people in the UK. Very tough. People have been completely disconnected from each other socially, spiritually, physically. And people's mental health is really suffering for it. And that experience doesn't compare to here in Florida, where bars are open, salons are open, restaurants are open, the beach is open. the attitude towards keeping others safe and one's own responsibility to participate in that is very different here than it is over there. But I've been,
It's different there than it has been up here in the Northeast.
Yeah, but what have I been doing? I've been doing artwork. I've been doing stained glass. I've been creating stained glass windows.
That's nice. That's cool.
What have I been doing? Well, I work from home. I work lovely collection up here. I work in fine fragrance, and I've been very fortunate that throughout this last year I've been able to continue working from home. So I've thrown myself into my work. I rescue animals, so that most of my time is taken up looking after this menagerie of beasts. Learning languages, being kind of diversely creative, and I haven't yet taken the plunge to write another musical. I know I've got it in me. It would be a disservice to the people who've encouraged my skills and talent not to do more with it. But I feel like this last piece was so ambitious. It took a lot out of me, and I need to take a little bit to. I need to
break
to
process and
flush this musical paradigm from my system.
Declassify and de-amp. And how did you know when to end it? How did you know when to put the last period on the last sentence? That can oftentimes, just as much as starting, knowing when to officially end it. Maybe you tweaked it a million times, but know when you can officially, comfortably walk away saying,
I don't think that you can.
Saying it's done.
I think for a writer to determine that point is very difficult, and I think you can continue refining something forever. There comes a point where you need to move forwards, or to take pride in what you've done. This isn't yet a finished piece. The translation could yet change. The dramaturgy could yet change. The orchestration, everything is subject to change. I wouldn't say that anything's finished, but I'm allowing myself to take a brief pause, a brief moment to reflect, let's say, because like I said, it's no longer just in my grey matter. It's no longer in my pink squish up here. It is now. I've created manifested a product that's essentially that I can share with you, that you can press play and put in your headphones, listen in your car stereo, listen in the bath. You can consume this wherever you want, and it no longer requires. It no longer relies on my memory to exist, and so now I've been able to take the vision. I say vision when it's something that you hear, but to take the vision out of my head and create something that can communicate it to the world, and the world can draw from it what they will. Now it has life of its own. Now it's been birthed. Now it's on its. It needs to find its feet. It needs to learn to walk, and I think at this point, in order for it to achieve its potential, I welcome the interest of collaborative parties who are more familiar, perhaps, than I with bringing work to audiences here in the States, what audiences want and how to give it to them. So I hope, this is definitely not the last of this piece. This is it's got an exciting future for audiences to look forward to, and for me to look forward to bringing to them. But it's a big, like I said, it's a meaty musical morsel. So someone with some big ambition needs to step in and say, all right, let's bring this epic work. Let's put this epic work in the
next level.
It should be, yeah. I think there's definitely room for this in with audiences. I think audiences will definitely respond. I hope people will respond very favourably. I've been having worked in theatre for a long time. I'm not, disillusioned as to the reason they call critics is because they often don't have the nicest of things to say. So with being cognizant of that, I've actually been absolutely thrilled with the unanimously positive response that this show has received from the critics. It has truly honoured me as a creative person to receive such feedback, and I hope that the more audiences discover the work, that the more people will enjoy it.
Very well said. It's a beautiful production. Do you see more? Is there more on the back burner? Have you already thought of the next thing?
Wow.
Uh-oh.
I am. I don't know how. I can't give too much away. I have definitely got some ideas. I have been tossing around ideas for what I may next create. I'm very aware of how much commitment goes into it. It's not something I can just click my fingers and it's done. It's a big commitment of my life. So I want to create something that is worthy of making that investment, of a story that means things to people, or that is important enough for me to want to tell it in a very involved way. So I've had some great ideas. I have some wonderful visual. I really don't want to give too much away, but I had. Do you know Kowloon, the walled city in Hong Kong? I had a great idea set Kowloon. I had a great idea set around Emperor Bokassa's coronation. I've got some great ideas, but when that idea really strikes, I'm not going to stress out about it. I'm not going to be anxious to find it. I'm not going to stress myself out to seek it. I know that when I find that story that speaks to me, I know that very quickly I'm going to be able to. It's going to be like a fountain of inspiration. There's a big space in my head that used to be occupied by this show and by the musical paradigm that I created, the very specific, it's very specific musical language. And I want to write something totally different. So the next thing I write might be completely. So this was very tuneful. We really strove to make this piece as tuneful and melodic as possible. And I think that's really difficult because every tune that is written, every tune you hear is a tune you can't write yourself. Is any variation on that tune, it's done. It's taken out from the world. So I think trying to be tuneful it gives me great anxiety as a composer. So I wonder if I completely emancipated myself from trying to be tuneful and instead just tried to be textural or percussive or evocative or just tried to seek a different focus rather than tunefulness, I might create something completely wild and different. I want to create a whole new musical language. I want a new musical paradigm. I love shows like that. My favorite shows like Chess, Les Mis, Turandot, Nixon in China by John Adams. Every single piece of music within those shows could only possibly belong to that show. You couldn't take it out and you couldn't put a song from Turandot and throw it in La Boheme. It wouldn't work. You couldn't take a song from Les Mis and chuck it in Miss Saigon or Vito. It wouldn't make sense. And I want to create another paradigm, another musical paradigm, but I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know whether it's going to be very enharmonic, it's going to be very chromatic. I know what excites me, and it's the voice. So and I don't really enjoy tunelessness. So it's all very well me saying, "Oh, I'm just going to write something completely atonal," but no, I'm probably going to write something fairly tuneful and fairly epic and something that requires sopranos to be very strong of nerve. That's my style. I think it's a very
Well,
good voice, and I love it. So there'll be something. There'll be another
there'll be
piece.
something you will hear. We will hear more from Giles
Oh, yeah.
Howe coming up. Well, keep me posted. Keep me posted. Congratulations on everything thus far with Soviet Zion. It's really been a labor of intense love and attention and striving for excellence with it and telling the story in a certain way that's very poignant and moves people, gets them thinking, gets them maybe also maybe redirecting some of their energy. And that's not an easy thing to just throw together. I mean, you could do that with green screen and everything else, but to actually take 11, 12 years of your life to devote to it and really perfect it, work on it, tweak it is something that is truly a labor of love. Absolutely a labor of love. So continued success with it, my friend, and keep me posted on everything that you're doing. And good luck with the next project too.
I will be glad to share it with you when I know it myself. I will be glad you'll be the
Then
first person.
we will be the first to know. And as we always say here on the Jim Masters Show Live, whenever we reveal something brand new on the show that nobody else knows, bring up that graphic. It's a world premiere exclusive.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. My friend, this was epic. And we chatted for 2 hours.
2 hours, wow.
It never feels, all the guests say it never feels like that. It just never feels like it's that length of time.
No, I must say you're a terrific host. It's been a real pleasure to speak to you. It doesn't feel like 2 hours. They have flown by. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time here on the show.
Well, I hope the show met whatever expectations you had, my friend, and we will keep the porch light open and on for you. It was a real pleasure. And before we go, what are some of the blessings and the joys in your life that can allow you to continue to create brilliant works like this? Big question, huh?
Big question. I don't wish to misrepresent myself by answering incorrectly. Forgive the long pause. I think it's really important to have gratitude for love, and love is where you find it. And I'm very fortunate, like I said, living here where I do live, that I can step outside, and if I'm really grumpy, if I'm not feeling super, there's the ocean, there's a palm tree, there's a kitten, there's some music, there is a giant jasmine bush that grows at the end of my street at 8 o'clock and the wind blows. Those little joys that's what it's about. If you eat something delicious, that's a blessing. If a kitten wakes you up like this, give me food, it's a blessing. If a neighbor waves at you on the street, little things, the sun shines, that's awesome.
Have you always thought that way? Or has the pandemic and lockdowns accentuated that? Or have you always known that even though you like to do things on a grand scale, career-wise and production-wise and entertainment-wise, that underneath all of the, grandeur, that it's the simple little joys that matter most?
Well, I think I feel quite acutely aware from one thing and another that these simple joys can be taken from you like this. It might only be a small joy, but it's joy. And
right.
And I have been through experiences in the past where I have been quite brutally oppressed, and people have tried to extinguish my spirit and have not allowed me to be happy, and to survive those and to endure those. You have to find a bright side to look on, because what's your alternative? I could be miserable. I could find cynicism. I could find things to be miserable about. Of course you can complain, but who wants to hear that? I don't want to be around miserable people. I don't want to be around myself when I'm miserable. But when someone is happy just because the small thing, there's always a balance. Okay, so and I'll have to watch my French. Okay, so the world's a mess. But there's also things to be happy about. You can't just concentrate on the mess, and you can't just concentrate on sunshine and lollipops. But I can try and focus more on the other. I don't know. I just think that if
It's
you're
about
happy,
a balance, right?
when you're happy, it's not nice to be happy out of spite for people. If you're genuinely happy out of genuine love and kindness, that spreads love and kindness. You know, if I'm happy and can be happy for a minute, and I'm interacting with someone and my happiness rubs off to them, it's just perpetual, and it's good to be happy, and it's good to laugh, and it's good to smile.
And there might be people who come along the way who try to take that away from you, or try to question the authenticity of the happiness and the joyful spirit, the levity. And those people have a way of just sort of coming in, trying to stir things up, and then they just eventually go away. If you just let them, they just eventually go away on their own. You should never let anybody take that away from you, or tell you that, you know, that you can't live your authentic self and be you and live in love and joy and happiness as best as you can.
Treat yourself well. Little luxuries. You know, I, for example, I don't scarcely interact with people right now because of the pandemic and working from home and so on. But if I'll wear a nice perfume of the day, even if it's just me and the dog who's going to smell it. That little lift is something that I can enjoy throughout the day. And so even if the rest of the day is miserable, well, there's a little special thing to enjoy, you know? I know that if I've got something delicious to look forward to for dinner, well, who cares what's happening until then? Because that's why focus on being miserable? Who wants to be around that? There's too much to be happy about.
Did you have your dinner already?
No, I didn't have my.
Because I noticed you're referencing it. You're probably thinking of something. This is a foodie crowd.
I
What are you going to have?
Actually, so tonight I'm going to have something Mediterranean. I'm going to have farro.
Nice.
I made some things yesterday, and I'm making more today. But I cook a lot of Szechuan food. I can't stand bland food. If I'm not breaking a sweat, if I'm not endorphins and involved, I don't care for it. So there's a lot of arguments in the kitchen about how much chili belongs in food.
So now there's always this running gag image of the food in England being bland. You know this firsthand, is it?
It depends what you eat. Do you know what? We do good pies. I don't really miss England at all. I miss the people. I miss the humour. But I don't often miss the food. But we do really good meat pies, fish pies, pork pies, steak and kidney pie. Oh, I love pie.
And you have really good tea. And I don't know. I love pudding. Even as a kid, I've always loved custard and pudding. And maybe that goes back. It was very funny. One time, I forgot what the birthday was, but my mother was making the birthday cake, and I said, in exchange, could we just make for the whole family? Just make, like big trays of custard. And that's what I wanted. For some reason that year, I just wanted custard instead of the big birthday cake and everything. Sometimes there's ice cream cakes, but I was excited, and everybody, you know, my mother loves the custard too, but some of the rest of the family are like, custard? Why is there? Why are we having custard? We were looking forward to Jim's birthday cake.
No, cake is just a vehicle for
And then I
custard.
said, but it's my birthday and I want the custard. Maybe the pudding, because my father's, the master's side of the family hail from Yorkshire, Yorkshire pudding.
Right.
It's got to be a connection in there somewhere, right? Michael Colby's here. Good to see you, Michael. Me too. Would rather have my mighty fine, yeah, it's the pudding, than ice cream. Karen says Yorkshire pudding. There's a little bit of a weird sound coming in. You don't hear it. We hear it. It's something that, like an electronic sound. It's almost like you're at an airport or something. Are you close to the airport? Is there a jet fueling ready to take off?
No, I'm secretly a cyborg. It might just be my cyborg innards whirring.
It's like sort of interfering. Jennifer Barry, Pennsylvania says, Giles, be happy, be zen. Jen is zen. Karen, of course, who's in Nova Scotia, Canada, just across the pond there. She says fish and chips. Karen also says she agrees with everything you said about gratitude and happiness. And I did a whole episode, if anybody didn't get a chance to see it, it's on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. I did a pop-up episode on Saturday, living in gratitude. And it was just me talking about the importance of living in gratitude. There was no guest because I'm a big believer in that. And Wozniak in Florida, she's up in Jacksonville. Thank you, Giles, for sharing these experiences with us tonight. You are awesome. Wishing you much success in your endeavors. Let's see, Sherry. Good to see you, Sherry Larson. You're so true. Only you can make yourself happy. That's right. Karen says, that's right, Jim. Thank you, Karen. More coming in here as well. Lots of levity here on the show. Karen says, you're a very wise young man, Giles. And Kathy in Cleveland says, thanks, Giles, for sharing your time with us tonight. Great conversation.
Oh, my pleasure.
And I like that you said that, what you just said, because I posted this whole thing once on Facebook two years ago. And I said, when did we ever go from saying thank you or you're welcome, or my pleasure into saying no problem?
Mm-hmm.
Now everybody says no problem instead of saying my pleasure. And I like when I hear not my pleasure. It sounds like you really mean it more when you say my pleasure than just no problem. No problem. Because then I'll say, if it was a problem, why did you even do it then? I could have just done it. And everybody that responded said, wow, they caught themselves saying no problem. Or that there's some sort of a loud sound coming through. It's really like, sounds like an electrical line. Mary Bishop says, great conversation tonight. And Sherry says, wonderful conversation and thank you. Kathleen Walker says, thank you for sharing your time with us, Giles. Take care. Amy says, great conversation, fellows. Good night, Giles. Merlin says, good night, Giles. Karen says, great having you here tonight, Giles. Juanita says, great conversation. Thank you, Giles, for sharing your time with us. Keep well. And Maureen says the same. And Michael says, great seeing you guys. And all the levity.
Awesome.
Michael says, when I appeared on Jim Masters, we included a clip of Slay It with Music, concert version, and Sharon McKnight and Tom Mopat, including your logo.
Yes, it's a small world. In fact, Michael Colby and I go back some 10 years more. Yeah. I produced when I was theatre producer back in London. I produced some of his work in some of our presentations. Likewise, June is tuned in as well. It's a small little world, and in fact, I know a couple of your other guests who were on recently.
Yeah,
Jana, who was on very recently.
Jana Robbins, and
good friend of mine. So it's a lovely community. I'm really happy to be part of.
You
Oh,
are very,
love
very
you.
the Lovities, exactly, my friend. And you're welcome back anytime. And it was a real pleasure having you on the show. And hope you enjoyed your time with me as much as I have with you.
Very, very much. Very, very much. Thank you again.
You're welcome. Now go stretch those legs and get some dinner. You've earned it. Take care, Giles. We'll see you again, okay?
Goodbye, everyone. Thank
Hopefully
you.
we'll be able to get together in person. That'll be cool and break bread. That'll be nice.
I'll look forward to it.
All right. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. Giles Howe, amazing, live from Florida. Now you had an opportunity to learn about him. Maybe you've seen some of his other work. Like you said, he's worked with June. He's worked with Michael Colby, both who have been guests on our show, and so many others. And what a fascinating production, huh? We're talking about Soviet Zion. It's taken him about 12 years to put that work of art together. And again, you can find the recording on Amazon and also the website as well. And just really, really amazing. You have an opportunity to really experience an amazing story, again, told so beautifully and eloquently through song and verse, just really extraordinary. Mona says, let's see, now let's get to the heart of the matter. Love your hair, Jim. Great look. Thank you very much. This is seems to be a topic tonight. It's kind of cool. Didn't do anything with it today. It was such a busy day. I was on the air. I had like 5 or 6 radio shows to host, and it was an extremely busy day today. So I didn't do anything specific. I just let it do its thing, and it is very long. It's gone down to here, the longest I've ever had it. But we're just almost at the year point, and it's kind of cool. So thank you very much, Mona. I appreciate that. And Amy, thank you very much. Like the long hair, appreciate that. And Karen says, Jim, you have the knack finding the most interesting, great guests. Thank you very much. I'm glad you guys enjoy it. We have a good time. A lot of work behind the scenes putting these shows together. And we like to have a show that is filled with inspiration and poignant moments, levity. We have a good time all the time. And I know you guys do, because you write to me all the time and you express how this series, the Jim Master Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series, means to you. You've sent things in the mail, you've written Instagram posts, and you've done tweets and private Facebook messages and YouTube comments. And I thank you so very, very much. You are all epic people, whether you're watching live right now and commenting. The folks who are watching right now who are not commenting, we thank you very much as well. You're just watching and enjoying, and that's what counts. And those of you who will be watching this later on, you can see the entire show once again on our YouTube channel at Jim Masters TV. And don't forget, we encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Thank you, June. Good seeing you here, my friend. And Mary Bishop as well. You can see this entire episode and over 400 episodes. Wow, I can't believe it. This is our 1-year anniversary this week. We've been doing this show almost 7 days a week, nonstop, and sometimes 2 shows a day for 7 days a week for how many weeks is this? Unbelievable. Well, 52, right? If it's a year. 52 weeks if it's a year, Jim. 12 months. Yes, 52 weeks, 12 months. That's how long we've been doing it. But it seems even longer because sometimes we've done 2 shows in a day, a pop-up show, and then our regularly scheduled evening show. And it's just been absolutely amazing, really amazing. If you missed any of the episodes, this one, or you joined us late, or you'd like to see any of the other shows, boy, we've had some amazing guests in the last year, haven't we? And not just the guests, all of you. None of us, as far as the viewers, most of us never knew each other. Maybe some of you followed my work on television and radio over the years here in the United States. And maybe, I know some of you have followed me from that work on television and radio, and you've joined us here. And I thank you very much for that. Others are brand new to the scene of JMS Live, and I think that's beautiful. And some of you I know very well. You're close personal friends. Some of you commenting are dear friends of mine and colleagues in television and radio and stage, and I love it. Amy says there's no other show out there like this one, and it is the best. My little earpiece is headphone is falling out. Although I don't need to, the hair's pulling it out. If you notice, I don't wear the big headphones. I have these little, you can't even really see them now. There's just the cord plugged into the air. There's no other show out there like this. It's the best. Thank you very much. We love civility and respect and kindness, and we all support each other. And don't forget, we have a Facebook group for this. If you haven't gone to it yet, we have a Facebook group that we created about 2 weeks ago for the Jim Masters Show Live. It's called JMS Live Levity Hall. That's JMS Live Levity Hall. And check it out. You're all welcome. You're all in there, most of you, and you're commenting and you're sharing pictures and photos, all kinds of cool things, recipes, and so much more. And I think it's really, really a beautiful thing that you guys are doing that. And sometimes I try to chime in as if I have a minute or so. Yeah, 365 days. How long have you been doing it? Doing it for a year? Let's see. That's 365, Jim. That's 12 months. That's 52 weeks. This is our anniversary week. Actually, like today or yesterday is the actual 1 year anniversary. And yes, you notice better sound, right? Did you hear a little bit of there was an electrical sound that was coming in and out when Giles was on, and it was on his end, and it was almost like an electrical current or something was near his computer interfering. If you notice, his signal went completely out and he disappeared. You guys like to see the chairs and all that? There you go. There's the chair. Do you see the chair? Chair shot. Everybody loves the chair shot. So there you go. This is our anniversary week and we're celebrating it. But in the middle of May, we're going to do a very, very special show. And I invite and welcome you guys, if you'd like to send a video, a quick video on your phone or on your laptop or on your computer. And yeah, sort of, it's kind of like that. Although he did have headphones on, with some other electrical sound that knocked him off the air too. But it all works out in the end. Chair, chair, chair. You got it. That's right. There you go. There's your chair shot. Renee had her earbuds in earlier and thought that's what was causing them. Renee, you thought it was you doing it? No, it was some signal there. We are, in a couple of weeks, going to be celebrating officially with a very special episode of our show, our 1 year anniversary. This is our 1 year anniversary of the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. And I sounded like the neighbor's vacuum. It did sound like somebody, a steam cleaner was happening in another one of the neighbors' houses. Yes. So that's funny. Wonderful seeing you again, as always. Wonderful seeing everybody. Chair. You can go to sleep now comfortably because you got to see the chair shots. And so we are putting together a very special anniversary episode. And I invite all of you, whether you're a guest, you've been a guest, or you're one of our lovely viewers, to send in a quick video on your phone or your computer, your whatever it is, and you can send it to us and we will air it on our very special episode of the Jim Masters Show Live. You can send it to jimmasterstv@gmail.com. Again, it doesn't have to be anything fancy at all. You can make just a quick video, holding up your phone, just telling us why you enjoy the Jim Masters Show Live, maybe some of the special moments, some of the special things that you really like about the show, and what it is that you enjoy and that moves you and inspires you with this broadcast that we created a year ago together. And it's really grown by leaps and bounds. It's expanded. There are countless views happening on YouTube right now. And we thank everybody that's watching this series on YouTube. That means a great deal. And subscribing to the YouTube channel and clicking that notification bell. The reason why we say click the notification bell is sometimes we do pop-up shows. We do other surprise shows. We also have other content on the channel that you might miss. And of course, these episodes as well, considering sometimes we do them at different times of the day based on where the guest is located. Like the coming weekends, we have a couple more earlier in the day shows because of the guests being overseas. So again, if you would like to be on our show, you can send us a quick video. You can make it on your phone, or you can have somebody else hold up the phone and you can just talk into it, and they can email it to jimmasterstv@gmail.com. If you have suggestions for guests that you'd like to see on our show, we are booked all the way into middle of June already, which is beautiful, every day with guests and some amazing people. I don't know if I know I mentioned it in the JMS Live Lovity Hall Facebook group, that Marion Ross, who was Mrs. Cunningham on Happy Days, will be joining us in a few weeks. That's right. The one and only legendary actress, Marion Ross. Next Monday, Hollywood legend Ruta Lee is coming to the Jim Masters Show Live as well. That's right. Ruta Lee is coming to our show. Eileen Graff, who played the mom on the 80s sitcom Mr. Belvedere, is also coming on the Jim Masters Show Live. And that's just a sample of just some of the folks who are coming on our show. Tomorrow night, we have a Broadway star coming on our show. Jason Gray is with us. That's right. He's all excited, and we can't wait to have him here. It's going to be a very, very special show. Then on Thursday, actually a very close friend of mine, the brilliant composer, arranger, lyricist, producer, David Friedman is going to be here. Epic individual and epic talent. He also runs the Thought Exchange, and he's written several books, including We Can Be Kind, and also Help is on the Way. And we're going to talk about the newest book on Thursday night. Also, you've probably heard his music. He worked a lot with Nancy Lamont, and also a lot of the music for specials on PBS Kids, for Aladdin, and a lot of, he's worked with some of the most incredible singers and performers, arranging and composing music for them. He's a close friend of mine, and he's joining us this Thursday night. Epic composer, conductor, musician, author, you name it, and just all around great guy. David Friedman is going to be with us on Thursday night. Then on Friday, another brilliant musical personality, musical director, as well as pianist, musician, songwriter, producer extraordinaire, Tracy Stark is with us. 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, coming up on JMS Live. That is this Friday night. And she's all excited as well. And then on Saturday, brilliant actor Ryan Duncan is going to be here. That's right. On Saturday, Ryan Duncan is going to be here live on Saturday. Of course, Sunday is Mother's Day. And then Monday, again, as I mentioned, Hollywood legendary veteran actress Ruta Lee is going to be with us, and that's going to be really cool. We're very excited about that, and she's all excited to join us on the show and all the levity. She loves levity, she said. Karen Campbell Green says, more great guests to look forward to. You know it. And Kathleen Walker, many great guests coming up. Can't wait. And matter of fact, when I wrap up this show, I have 7 emails to respond to people who want to come on the show. And I have to look at our calendar and look at the different dates and work with everybody to see, how we can put them in different slots and different dates. And so last night when I was doing the show, about 6 or 7 people booked to come on our show while I was hosting last night's episode with that fantastic Ryan Silverman. We had a great time. We spoke to each other today. He had a ball on the show last night. He loved it. Everybody, we connect afterwards and they really enjoy it. And they thanked everybody. He loved the levity last night. So I have some work to do after. I got to catch up with some of the guests who want to come on, look at the calendar and sort of work that through. I balance this with my professional work, which is really busy in radio and television, but we are loving this. Aren't you guys loving it? Yeah, Ryan was terrific. We had a great time last night. He enjoyed himself. He's got a great wit about him too. I agree. And thank you, Karen. Appreciate that. Crystal, thank you. Hope you're doing well, Crystal. I see you again soon. Thank you for another amazing show, Jim. My pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure. And Jennifer says, Jim, I got me Pfizer shot today. So you got the second one. Just a dry mouth and sore Yeah, sore on the arm a little bit, side effects, all good. Can't wait to get the second shot. See, this is the first, your second one. Good. I got my second shot about 3 weeks ago now. So in the clear, as best as we can be, and happy for that. And my family is doing that too. They're all getting it or have gotten it, and we're happy. So we can all gather. I have a big family on both sides of the family, lots of relatives, and we haven't been able to see everybody. And there's been a lot of holidays and events and things that have gone by that we haven't been able to see due to the fact that planes weren't really flying and people were being safe. A lot of the family was like, we'll get together when we can. Good luck with your first shot tomorrow, Karen. Absolutely. And Maureen in Arizona says, and again, Maureen, thank you again so much for that beautiful Mr. Lovety # Masters Mantras glass. Every once in a while, I rotate that into the show. I try to rotate it in. Tonight, it's Mary Bishop night with Mary Bishop's Pine Island, Florida mug that she sent. I love mugs and all kinds of things like that. Matter of fact, I should have a sip. Very good. I've been talking a lot tonight. Pine Island, Florida. Thank you, Mary Bishop. But thank you again for that wonderful glass. That was a very beautiful gift, Maureen. I thank you very much. Even the talk shows from years past never showed so much levity to their guests. You have created a real special series, Jim. Congratulations. Thank you very much, Maureen. I really appreciate that. And I'm over 2 weeks past my second shot, and it's a good feeling. So you're over 2 weeks. Yes, I know, right? So you're like I am. It's past the 2 weeks. And that's a good thing. I know. Didn't you feel like you were doing your part, or you just felt like, I don't know, it was exciting to actually get it the first time and exciting to get it the second time. And where we went to get ours, it was so well run. It was just really, we didn't go to the drugstore. We went to, actually, it was like a medical facility within a big community pool. And it was just so, everybody was so nice and conversational, and everybody was so pleasant. And you sit and you wait for a while to make sure there's no reaction. And it was so well run. And to have been able to put this all together so quickly is really amazing. Thank you very much, Maureen. I appreciate that very, very much. And we will bring that again into the rotation here. Amy says you planted seed of kindness and levity, and look how it has grown. Thank you. I really appreciate you noticing that, Amy. We work hard, to maintain that here on the show with civility and respect and kindness and levity. Not everything is perfect, but we try to keep the train on the track as best as we can. Karen says, I will definitely do an ocean video. Perfect. Again, yes, send us your videos, gang. We're coming up close. This is our anniversary. Happy anniversary to all of us for the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. We are going to do, again, a big show coming up in a couple of weeks, and I'll announce the date soon. We'll post it so you don't miss it. And we'll have all kinds of cool things. Anniversary party in Levity Hall. You got it. Such a cool milestone. So we wanted to do it right. I've been so busy. I didn't want to just throw something together this week. I wanted to do something that is more poignant. So in a couple of weeks, we'll have that for you. And again, if you'd like to be a part of it, send us your videos. All of you. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Send a video. Whether you're one of our guests listening or you are one of our faithful Levity viewers, one of the Levity squad, and send that along and to jimmasterstv@gmail.com, and we'll air it during the show. Thanks for this great show with Giles, Interesting Krill. Watch this weekend during shows pop up when you open the package and card. Yes, I still have the package waiting right here, and we're going to open it this weekend. This is the package with love from North Carolina. Whoosh, flew through the air and arrived to us here. And it's from Christine Clifton. And it's been torture not to open it. But I like to open these things that you guys so beautifully and graciously send. I like to open these on the air because I don't want to just open it and, not acknowledge it. I think it's very important that you acknowledge those who take the time to watch the show, comment, click like on YouTube if you enjoyed this video, or I say video. I call this a television show, but YouTube calls these videos. But I come from TV. So to me, this is a show and these are episodes. Smash that like button on the video like that you see on YouTube. Drop a comment if you enjoyed this episode or any of the other episodes. Drop a comment, not just here during chat, but drop a comment under the video on YouTube. Love that and appreciate that. And again, subscribe to the channel and tell everybody about it. But this came with love from North Carolina. We're going to open up this weekend. This is very torturous because we're like, it's like a kid that has a Christmas gift and he's being told, do not open until Christmas. Do you remember when Michael Lee, the hypnotist and escape artist, was on the show a couple weeks ago? And he said, do not open until, somewhere I still have that slip, do not open until live on air. And he did that incredible illusion or whatever it was. It was just unbelievable. Renee says, our Iowa Cubs baseball team started playing tonight and they were giving vaccine shots before the game to people there. That's fantastic. That is fantastic. Jennifer says, Jim, all due respect, can we see you Facebook Live surf this summer? Would be awesome. Your Ocean's End. Actually, we are going to be traveling in the summer. We weren't able to last year because everything going on with pandemic, but we are going to be traveling. And we're going to be in an ocean climate. We actually have a lot of traveling and we're going to be sending it along. So we're looking forward to it and we'll document that. Maybe we'll do a couple of live shows on location. Absolutely. I'll bring maple cream cookies to the anniversary party. LOL. Campbell, Green, Karen, thank you very much. And Christine says, today is 7 weeks since my second Pfizer shot vaccine. Yes, we did our part and it makes me feel better and more safe knowing I've had it. Good night all. Night, Jim, Christine. Yeah, there is something, you do feel like there's a blanket around you of safety. If we're on top of people, we still wear the masks and we still distance a little bit. They still have to do that for a while, I guess, until everybody is up to speed. Thank you again, Maureen. And let's see, look back at a couple of these before we wrap up here. Again, you guys always say some beautiful things here. Kathleen, so many thanks, Jim. Have a great night. And Lovity hugs, of course, and good night all. And Mona says, good night, Jim and Lovities. I know you said you came in late, so welcome. It's just glad that you came to the party. And you can see this episode and all of them on our YouTube channel, as you know, and binge watch. The bingeable Mr. Levity. Happy anniversary, Jim. Your show is fun and entertaining. Thank you so much. Glad I found you and all the Lovities. You as well. So glad you're here and you're here with us all the time as much as you can. I realize now that all of you can be with us every single night. You have lives to lead and things happen in life for all of us. Life can be unpredictable, and but the fact that you're here and you let us know. And what's really amazing is when some of you, if you can't be here, you actually send a note of apology. Oh, I can't be there tonight. I have to do this or do that. That's a beautiful thing. You don't have to apologize, but it's a beautiful thing that you do. That's just kindness to the umpteenth with our group here. Your kindness fills the room, Jim. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. Great guest coming up. Thanks, Jim. Can't wait, Jennifer. And Jennifer also says, I can't wait for Marion Ross. That's right. Mrs. Cunningham from Happy Days is coming on the show. Good night, Jim. Great show as always. Thank you very much, Kathy in Cleveland. Love it. And good stuff. Love it. Wonderful seeing all of you here. We'll be back tomorrow. We've got Broadway star Jason Gray coming, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic. You guys want another one of our exclusive group hugs, Lovity group hug to everybody? There we go. Nice and tight. All right. Great show, everybody. As always, good to see all your smiley faces. Lovity hugs, real hugs soon. You got it, Kathleen in New York City. You got it. And get out and do some planting. We've been doing that. Get out and get some color. Fill your life with color. We have been doing that. Actually, we had the garden expert, Farmer Ken, with us last week. If you saw that episode, it was epic. And I've been doing yard work, landscaping, and all this horticultural stuff ever since I was a kid. It's big within our family and always enjoy it. So can't wait to get out even more and get the yard going. Don't forget to smile, gang. We always say that. And of course, do not forget to share the Lovity something we've created here on the Jim Master Show Live. And find that Zen place, right? Jen is Zen. Jen likes the mountains of Allentown, Pennsylvania, and the Keystone State. And we are here along the coast in the northeastern United States. And that is the Atlantic Ocean, which I will be in very soon. It's a little chilly still. Need some warmer days, but we'll be swimming, surfing, boogie boarding, sailing it, and floating in it and walking it. We've been walking it, but we need to get in it real soon. It's I'm sort of chomping at the bit to get into the ocean and do my thing. Also doing my thing is the work I do in television and radio and stage. Love it very much, and really appreciate all the work over the years in television and radio, stage, on air, on camera, behind the scenes, and so much more. You guys are the very best. Don't forget, as we always say, it's backwards. What do you think it says? I grabbed it and it's backwards. Axara. Relax, the big reveal. Don't forget to relax and love one another and be nice to one another. This hair's funny. This one little piece just wants to go. It wants to. It's like a compass. It wants to point in a. It's rebelling. It wants to go that direction. Relax, gang. Love one another. Have fun. Don't take things too seriously. Remember the things that matter in life the most: respect, kindness, civility. Say a good word. Keep the negativity out the door. Be positive. Not every day is going to be perfect. There's days when you feel miserable and you're annoyed, you're frustrated, and you've had enough and you can't take it anymore. Well, surround yourself with positivity and good people. Like you heard Giles say, he's got the ocean nearby and the pets nearby and food nearby. And it's those simple things that matter. So love one another and love yourself and breathe from the diaphragm and take time to relax. Take time to relax and don't let anybody talk you down, talk you out of it, or talk you away from doing you. There's a lot of people out there that are negative and that are nonsensical. And those people sort of have a way of weaving in and then weaving out on their own, and let them. It's less stress on you if you just let them do that. And smiles, Karen. We toast all of you once again in our Pine Island, Florida mug with love from Mary Bishop. We appreciate that. Sleep well. Yes, Kathleen, I did. I had a really good night's sleep last night. I was still up a little later than I wanted to be. I had so much work to do getting the professional work. I had all these interviews and 6 or 7 episodes of the show that I host on radio, and then some television work as well, and then getting this show ready too. So right back at you, Kathleen. And Karen says, haha, love your hair talk. Isn't it funny how that happens? Too cute. And Juanita says, we had a warning for heavy rain and flooding tomorrow night. Whooping start to our rainy season. Yeah, you guys get into the real rain season. Well, be well and hang in. Get a rowboat if needed. Whew, and a bucket. Backwards because you needed to read it. Christine Clifton says, looking forward to Jason Gradamore. He's fantastic. Lovely hugs. Isn't he, Christine? You got it. Bonfire on the beach. Lovely cruise too. Yes. Then we'll all be in the water having a good time. We're just finalizing the details on that, folks. And then we should have that soon. I know some of you have been asking. That's right. Jen is Zen. Good stuff. And love that picture. That color looks great on you. Is that the ocean picture? Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You guys are the best. Great photo, Jim. That must be the, I wonder which photo it is. Is it the ocean picture? This one? Or is it the Lovety picture? Is it that one there maybe? And of course, with the ocean behind me. Is it this picture you guys are talking about? Or is it the in front of the ocean picture, Lovety picture? Or is it the ocean is Zen photo? Thanks anyway. Appreciate your comments, and you guys are the best. So we got some work to do with the flowers, the garden photo. Oh, okay. I see which one you're talking about. The one where we're at the garden center and we're getting all of the supplies and the flowers. That one. There you go. Very nice. Thank you very much. The one with the flowers, the garden photo, the flowers one with the flowers. Oh, that's what it is. Zayler, relax backwards. Zayler. I like that. Yes, that's our new nickname, Zayler. Zayler. That sounds cool. Sounds like a superhero, doesn't it? I'm here to save the day. Zayler is here. It also sounds like a new medicine, doesn't it? That's it. LOL. This picture here. Great. Isn't it amazing how we can respond so quickly? Gang, we love you all. We toast you one more time. Thanks for joining us in this episode, another epic show. You guys are the best. You really hang with us for a good long time, and I appreciate you guys being with us all the time. Jim Masters Show Live is here 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, just for all of you. And again, all the episodes are archived on a YouTube channel at Jim Masters TV. And again, if you haven't, be sure and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Click the notification bell so you don't miss any of our great content, all the episodes of the Jim Masters Show Live, and other surprises, pop-up shows, and other cool things that are available on that channel for all of you, as well as over 400 episodes, 24/7, 365 available for you as well at Jim Masters TV on YouTube. Gang, we're going to wrap up. This was another epic night, and we look forward to Jason Howe tomorrow. And as Maureen says, have a blessed night, everyone. Hugs and levity to all. You too as well. And the flower one too. Jim, don't forget to take a picture of the cool long hair. It's a keeper. Yes, before we do anything as far as clip, we got to get pictures of it, right? Because we don't really have, I have, these pictures where it's shorter, but we don't have any, picture. This one is shorter and this one is a little shorter but fuller, but nothing that is as long as this. This is milestone record-breaking territory we're in with this right now. Renee, always a pleasure to have you here, my friend. Sending you levity out to you in Iowa. And thanks for being with us. You're the best. And have a blessed night, everyone. Hugs and levity to all, to you as well. This is your host, Jim Masters, thanking you for your time this time. Till next time, we'll be back tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, with Broadway star Jason Gray. I hope you're here as well to join us. If you're not, you can see everything on our YouTube channel. We'll catch you on the next one. You guys are the best. Have a good night. Love you all. Bye-bye.